You know, I see these comments underneath my videos all the time. People asking, why do Wuwa creators always have something negative to say about Hoyoverse games? You don't really see Hoyo CCs talking bad about Kuro and Wuthering Waves. It's always the other way around. At a first glance, it almost seems like a one-sided drama. Like certain Wuwa creators are just looking to throw shade at Hoyo, while Hoyo creators are just sitting back and not really engaging at all. But if you actually stop and think about it, there's a lot more going on underneath the surface. It's not just random hate, and it's definitely not as shallow as just we love farming. There are layers of history and player experience as to why this dynamic even exists. So today, we're gonna break it all down and unpack the harsh reality of why Wuwa CCs, myself included, criticize Hoyoverse. And trust me, it's not just because we like to farm clicks or stir the pot, which, to be fair, I mean, that's an additive, but there's a real reason why this conversation keeps coming up. And by the end of this, you'll probably start to see the full picture too. But before we get into this video, if you've been enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. My community Discord server is pinned in the comment section down below for those of you that want to join. And just a small note here, I obviously don't speak for every Wuthering Wave CC here, but I'm just taking a good educated guess from mine and my smaller CC's friends' experiences. But without further ado, let's get into this. The first thing that we have to address, the overwhelmingly majority of Wuwa creators, I'd easily say 90% of us, came directly from Hoyoverse games. Whether it was Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact 3rd, Honkai Star Rail, or even ZZZ, most of us weren't just casual players. We spent years or months with these titles, grinding day after day, pulling for characters, chasing metas, spending money, and most importantly, building content around them. And it wasn't just playing a game for some of us. Hoyoverse titles were the starting point of everything. They were the foundation of our channels, the communities we built, and in some cases, our main source of entertainment. If you scroll back far enough on some Wuthering Waves CC's channels, you'll probably find some Genshin guides or Star Rail showcases. That's how much those games shaped who we are as creators. That's also why the criticism you hear from us carries weight. It's not coming from outsiders who never touched the game or people who just hopped on Wuthering Waves looking for something to tear down. It's coming from people who were once deeply invested in these games, people who cared so much we dedicated hours into sharing that passion with others. And that level of investment matters, because when you've poured so much time, energy, and sometimes money into something, you don't walk away with just strong opinions. If anything, the more time they've spent with the games, the sharper the criticism becomes when things don't live up to what they could be. And that's simply not hate. That's the voice of those who know the games inside and out and care enough to hold them accountable when others aren't. But here's the harsh truth. A lot of us fell out of love with Hoyoverse's games. And it wasn't because we just randomly woke up and stopped enjoying the game, but because these games decided to derive from what made us enjoy them in the first place. Predatory monetization tactics is one of them. Let's not sugarcoat it. Hoyo has built a reputation for pushing gacha to its absolute limits. From insane HP inflation that makes you roll on new characters because they make your old ones obsolete, to banner mechanics being absolute trash, or making new units rely heavily on other premium units, or they have half their worth. Let's just say they've mastered the art of squeezing every last dollar out of their player base. And eventually, once you start to become more aware of this, it makes you less inclined to even support these games. On top of that, they have dev teams that don't really listen anymore. Time and time again, feedback just seems to disappear into the void. Whether it's quality of life requests, balancing issues, or repeated calls for more endgame content, the pattern is the same. The community suggests, but the devs don't respond. Also, a lack of effort is creeping in, and now more than ever, there's this growing sense of stagnation. Rewards feel stingier, and updates don't hit as hard as they used to. For those of you who were there in the earlier years, it's painfully obvious when the passion starts to fade behind the development. So when people ask why Wuwa creators criticize Hoyo, this is it. It's not hate, it's simply disliking the direction these games have went down. And this is where I need to be crystal clear. Criticism doesn't equal hate. You Hoyo shows really need to lock this into your mind. It's often the exact opposite. We criticize because we want these games to do better. We criticize because we've seen how great these games were when the dev teams actually locked in. Think about it. If we didn't care, we truly wouldn't waste our breath. It's way easier to just move on, cover something else, and never look back. But another reason we keep talking about it, besides just wanting the games to get better, is because we're invested in the health of the gacha industry. Now, you all really need to listen up to this point that I'm about to make. Whether you like it or not, Hoyo sets the tone for the entire space. If they cut corners, everyone else thinks they can get away with it. If they abuse monetization, other studios will follow suit. We've quite literally seen it riddled within the gacha space. Why do you think we see the same Hoyoverse formula replicated in so many other gacha games? So when we criticize Hoyo, we're not just speaking for ourselves, we're speaking up for the wider player base that doesn't have a platform. Now, let's flip the script for a second. Why don't you see Hoyo creators returning the same energy toward Wuwa or Kuro in general? Why is this so one-sided? The answer is really simple. They can't. A lot of Hoyo CCs are under contract, they've signed NDAs, sponsorships, or affiliate agreements that literally prevent them from speaking negatively about the games. One bad take, and suddenly they're off the list for early access programs, denied sponsorships, or even blacklisted. And even if they're not under contract, there's still the issue of audience retention. Most Hoyo CCs build their entire platform on the Hoyo ecosystem. If they start dropping critical videos, guess what happens? Their views tanks, their revenue dips, their community, which came from hype, guides, and positivity, that all starts to leave. Take it from someone who used to cover ZZZ. I promise you, when I made the switch to Wuwa, Wuwa, a lot of my active following dipped out. So from their perspective, staying silent or overly positive isn't just safer, it's survival. And honestly, that's something that you've got to deal with. When your livelihood is tied to one game and one company, speaking out becomes a massive gamble. We've seen it with Brand Online. We saw a bit of it with Box 2. These are prime examples right in front of your face. But here's where it creates this weird double standard in the community. On one side, you've got Wuwa CCs openly criticizing Hoyo because we've already broken away from that ecosystem. We have more freedom to call things out without risking our platforms. And on the other side, you've got Hoyo CCs locked into silence, either by contract or fear of losing their audience. And when you put these two together, it looks like Wuwa creators are just haters constantly punching up, while Hoyo creators are above it all. But the reality is way more complicated. One side is free to speak, the other simply isn't. Whereas things on the Wuwa side are completely different. From what I've experienced so far, if you criticize Wuwa or Kuro in general, as long as it's valid and not misinformation, everyone can get around it. There's a lot more understanding than the Hoyo audience, because just like a lot of us CCs, the audience doesn't want to see their game go down the same path as Hoyo. This isn't just about YouTubers throwing shade back and forth. It actually matters for the future of the gacha industry. If creators don't feel safe speaking out, then companies like Hoyo get away with whatever they want. There's no accountability, there's no incentive to improve, and the players are the ones to suffer. That's why it's important for Wuwa CCs and other non-Hoyo creators to be loud, because someone has to be. Someone has to push back against predatory systems, against lazy development, against ignoring the player base. If we don't, who will? At the end of the day, healthy criticism benefits everyone. If Hoyo listens, improves, and raises their game, guess what happens? The entire industry levels up. Other games within the industry, they all get better because the bar gets set higher. But just to end this off on a personal note, one thing I've learned from my time covering Zenless Zone Zero is to treat every step as a learning lesson. Back then, I made the mistake of tying my entire brand to just one game. My content, my growth, it all lived and died by that single game and how it performed. And because of that, I used to hold back on criticism, afraid that saying something too negative might hurt the channel or upset the community. But I don't operate like that anymore. No more being boxed into a sole game, no more holding back criticism. Now I see criticism as a part of the job. It's not hate, it's honesty, and it's how we grow, both as creators and players. And if I see that within Wuwa, once I make it further along into the end game, you best believe I'll call it out. I highly encourage other current CCs and even aspiring ones to take the same approach. Don't pigeonhole yourself, don't silence your own perspective just to play it safe. Diversify your content, speak your truth, and build a brand that reflects you rather than just one title. In the long run, that's the healthiest way forward, and in my opinion, it's the best way to go. So the next time you see a Wuwa content creator criticizing Hoyo, don't immediately write it off as hate. Look a little bit deeper. Actually use your brain for a second instead of instantly blindly protecting your favorite game or company. More often than not, it's coming from a place of genuine care. And that's the harsh reality of why Wuwa CCs criticize Hoyo. But at the end of the day, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with this take? Make sure if you're new here, like the video, subscribe, and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you like this video, I'm more than confident you'll like either one of these videos on screen. And I just wanted to say thank you all for 4K. The Wuwa community doubled my sub count within 3 weeks, and I'm greatly appreciative for the support. That's all I got today for you, Freaky Frogs. Take care, and peace.